Patrick Woody, welcome to North Carolina Now.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
You are president of the North Carolina Rural Economic Development Center. First of all,
Yes.
Tell us about the organization and the work that you do.
Well, the Rural Center has been around for 27 years. In January, we'll turn 28. We're a private nonprofit organization, and our mission is really all about improving the quality of life of the people who live in the rural parts of our state. And we've been pretty true to that mission for 27 years. We're governed by a 30-member board of directors, and our focus really is economic development, is how do we improve the quality of life, how do we make the economy stronger and better, and how do we support building the capacity of rural communities and rural people.
You serve 85 counties here in North Carolina. Tell us
That's
about
correct.
those counties and how they differ from their metropolitan counterparts.
Well, we certainly see a lot of diversity among the 85 rural counties, probably more so than we did when we were founded in 1987. But certainly what we see today is a state that's changing rapidly, and so what that means to rural communities is very dependent upon where you lie within rural North Carolina. We have some urban adjacent rural communities that are doing very well, that are clearly part of their urban labor sheds, that are very well connected to what's going on in the economic development world of the metropolitan areas. And then we have the more isolated, remote places in the state that are not quite as well connected, but also have a lot to offer. A lot of opportunities to build on, and we try to help all those communities really understand what it is that's unique about them, what are their opportunities for building upon that local economy, and then going about really implementing that with the vision that comes from local leadership.
Research and innovation are priorities in the work that you do. Can you give us some examples of how research and that innovation, how it's playing out in the communities that you serve?
Well, over time, you have seen it play out in many different ways at the center. Virtually everything that we do as a standing program today started out as a research project some time ago and really held promise, and that's how we came to do it. Everything that we advocate for and everything that we deliver through the center is really research-based and data-driven. That's the way we've always operated, and it always will be the way we operate. With respect to sort of the world we find ourselves in today, it's really understanding what is that changing economy, what are the sectors of our economy that hold real promise for rural areas, and we've seen in many ways a resurgence of rural manufacturing, and while we would be the first to say that it's not, first of all, I guess, in the economic development world, for those folks that are looking for a silver bullet, the first message really is there is no silver bullet. It's going to take really focusing on all aspects of a local economy and working to build all of those things. It's not doing one thing to the exclusion of all others in order to find success. So really helping local leadership understand what their unique opportunities are, and how they can capitalize on those to really make the local economy stronger. How do they fit into their region? How do they fit into the rest of the state? And quite honestly, how do they relate to the rest of the world? Because they're no longer competing with the counties next door or the state next door. They're competing on a global basis with workers all over the globe.
And this is a conversation you're going to be having with hundreds of rural leaders later this week when you convene the North Carolina Rural Assembly. Tell us about that event and what you're really hoping to accomplish and for folks to take away from participating in it.
Well, over 27 years, we've always had an annual convening of our rural partners, really the leadership of rural North Carolina. It's their opportunity to really get together, network with each other, learn from each other, and for us to really bring some great presentations, great information, and new up-to-date data to them that helps them in the context of the work they're doing in their own communities. And so we missed last year, but we're back this year with a rural convening. We're really pleased with the response that we're getting, and we're looking forward to the information that our presenters are going to bring to our audience on that day. And it's information we think will be useful to them, and really taking it back home and using it in their day-to-day world as they go about improving their community.
And what are some of the things that you expect to hear as those 400 folks from across the state gather to focus on rural North Carolina?
So we're going to begin that morning with a series of 3 presentations. One's really going to focus in on the changing demographics of our state. We're a rapidly changing state. That comes as no surprise to anybody, but it has specific implications if you're in rural North Carolina, and depending upon where in rural you are. Secondly, we're going to really focus in on the economy. How are we doing? How are we doing vis-a-vis our urban counterparts? How are we doing vis-a-vis the rest of the country? And what are the steps we need to be taking to making things better? And then finally, we believe one of the real challenges that faces us as a state, but particularly in rural areas, is a workforce development challenge. How do we get the existing workforce the support, the skills, the training that they need to fill the jobs of this century and the future? And so we're going to have some great perspectives from experts that are going to help us get current on all that information.
There's one other project that I want to mention, which is the North Carolina Small Business Credit Initiative,
yes.
Because you've been getting accolades on this from the U.S. Department of Treasury, which has said that this is one of the top programs of its kind in the nation. So tell us what this is about and what it targets.
Well, the Small Business Credit Initiative is really about 3 programs that we operate at the Rural Center. We were asked by the state of North Carolina to really because of previous work we had done in this area, we were asked to deploy this federal funding on behalf of the entire state. And so we do that. We work hand in hand with the banks of North Carolina, mostly community banks, but really with all the banks, with certified development financial institutions in our state, and also with federally insured credit unions. And we operate 3 different programs that are designed to really help the banking industry in our state say yes to loans that they otherwise would have to say no to. And so it really helps mitigate the hazards of lending for the banks while at the same time leveraging private dollars to really invest in small business all across North Carolina. It's the only thing we do at the center that is statewide in all 100 counties, and we're recognized as one of the top 5 programs in the country.
Patrick Woody, thank you so much for coming to share more information about that, as well as the assembly coming up later this week. We appreciate it.
Thank you.